Hi, Jerry Ann. Thank you for joining me to help demonstrate fish pose, restorative fish pose. Because we like that. Good. So can you gently get down onto the floor and just sit up tall. And we'll first of all have you face that direction so I can see, and bring your hips down to the floor and lengthen your legs out in front of you, or you can sit cross-legged for this. Now, I want to set up the blocks for Jerry Ann and point out a few things, which are that she has a rather short waist, so there's not a lot of space. And these blocks have a certain dimension to them. So I'm not so sure that it's actually going to work for Jerry Ann, but we will try it anyway, just to see what does work and then maybe offer some modifications. So you can see where I'm holding the block up now is tiny distance away from, is that your waist? Yeah, a tiny distance away from her waist and a good distance away from her shoulders. That's the important part. We do not want the block anywhere close to her shoulders. And we do not want it on the waist either. So it's sort of in between. We'll just see, I will just make an imprint right there on your back and then guess as to where that is going to be on her body. The second block I'm going to set up, I'm going to start it on the medium side rather than the high side. It can always easily be flipped up to the high side, and this is going to be to support the back of her head. Not the neck, but the back of her head. So let's start you off with that. And then, Jerry Ann, maybe you can bend your knees and bring them over to the left side here. And use your arms to stretch out, coming onto your back, onto that spot. How did that work?
That works.
Does it work? Mm-hmm. Okay. And actually, I'm thinking that it should be just a little bit there, tiny bit more.
Now that's more supported, yeah.
Okay. And I could see that it was getting a little close to her shoulders. And the real magic of this particular pose, for those who do not have range of motion, is I want those shoulders, I want the shoulders to have no support whatsoever, none. I want them hanging out in space. That's the power of this particular pose. Okay, and then we're going to work with, well, first let's set up the lower body to be comfortable before we start working with the arms. So I would suggest bending the knees and letting the knees knock together and separate the feet just a little bit. I mean, I like that because this is a back bend, so we are arching the spine in a back bend, and it can put extreme pressure on the lower spine, on the sacrum, which is also not a good thing. Staying in this pose for any length of time could cause stress there. And the other thing about knocking the knees together and even putting a little bit of effort into keeping them together, yeah, when they actually work just a little bit to press in together, and we'll work with her breath and her breathing to do that, it actually a little bit rotates that greater trochanter in the hip socket. So the hips slightly separate as the knees press together. The greater trochanter separates the hips slightly, and the magic there is that the sacroiliac joint is opened up and can be very, very beneficial to all of the people who might suffer from sciatica. Okay, so now, Jerry, what are we going to do with those arms? I want to try two things with Jerry in terms of the arms. We're first of all going to increase the benefit of that shoulders being suspended in the air by having her rotate those powerful palm, just rotate the thumbs out, keeping them down. Excellent, excellent. So in this position for Jerry, the elbows are on the floor, unlike what we saw with Robin when her elbows were up. Her elbows are completely supported by the floor, so we don't need to do any propping. And that added outward rotation of the thumbs and the palms increase that pectoral muscle stretching. And the weight here of the arm bone adds to that, but it's supported because the elbow is on the floor.